G'day legends and welcome to the Thursday Sesh for Celtic Down Under. I'm your host Jared and joining me is Willie. How you going, Willie?
I'm going all right, Jared. I've had a very busy day. I'm still on the recovery road from the COVID. It's still taking its toll here and there, but I'm getting better. So
The dirty Rona. You gotta hate that thing. So feel better, mate. Same goes to Liam. I know he's had a bit of the that as well. So I hope everyone's feeling well, and anyone who's still getting it, you know, taking your cement tablets, you're getting your rest, and you're feeling better soon, because that thing absolutely kicked my ass back in the day too. So yeah, we'll crack on. It's going to be an interesting pod. We're coming off the back of a 7-1 win, Willie. Did you see that coming against Dundee?
No, I thought we would win comfortably, but I didn't think it'd be quite that comfortably. I was actually blown away by how well we played in that first half. So yeah, it was good to see.
It's kind of funny though. I was looking at it and I was like, "Oh yeah," I said, "We'll win 3-0" as my tip on Monday's pod, and I said Kun will score a hat trick because what's his name, Jared, keeps saying, you know, he's going to score a hat trick in our group chat. So I thought I'll give him the credit and everything. And what happens? Didn't even hit the field. We had a 7-1 win. So yeah, we'll just go through it. So I think when the starting lineup was announced, it was pretty much what we were all hoping for. In general, it was a couple of question marks, but the key things were going to be, was it going to be Scales or was it going to be Naroski? Naroski's out hurt, so it was Scales. So that was sort of before the team list even came out. The other one was Brendan going to keep the midfield from the weekend? So Awada, McGregor, and O'Reilly. Was absolutely buzzing when I saw that he kept that together. And then Willie, it was okay. Is it Ida up front? Is it Yang who's going to start? Is it going to be Kun? Is it going to be Kyogo? What's it all going to be here? So, what was your thoughts when you saw the starting lineup?
I had no shocks in that starting lineup. I was quite pleased with the way he lined up. The only thing for me was, would CCV start, or would they just sort of ease him in at the 60-minute mark? But it was good to see him on the starting lineup. Really pleased Awata. They kept his place, because I really like the way the balance of that midfield three when Awata's sitting deep and O'Reilly and Kalmak are pushing on. So it's really good to see. And Yang as well. He's taking his chance here, and he's shown he's worthy of it. So really good to see as well.
Yeah, it was definitely. I'm loving Awada getting a run of games. Like as we said on Monday, it's one of those things where it's great to have a specialist number 6 in the team. Someone who's actually supposed to be playing that position. That's his natural position. Like Kalmak's more of an 8 to me. And when he plays for Scotland, he has McTominay playing in that 6, so it frees him up. So I thought it was actually great to see Kalmak getting freed up. I think he's played his best game and a half, 2 games. Actually, game and a half, because he went off at halftime in this one, in the last 2 games, along with Awada in there. So I'm really happy seeing that performance there. And then Ida up front. The more I see of him, the more I'm liking him, and yeah, he's doing well as a big centre forward. I said he was Musa Dembele from Wish. That's the way I summed him up on Monday's pod, and I still stand by that. But there's a player there. That's the only reason I'm saying that, is because Dembele was one hell of a player for us. But yeah, Ida's got all the skills. It's just a matter of putting it together. And what's it, 5 goals for him now since he came in? Happy with that return. So yeah, we'll get your general thoughts on the first half, Willie.
I thought when I tuned in, I got the phone going, hid away in a corner at work, and when I got it going, it was Dundee that was on the attack. I thought, oh no, here we go, and it kind of looked promising for them for the first 5 minutes. You're like, oh, we could be up against this, but once we got a grip of the game, we never looked back. I mean, I think 7 or 8 minutes in, and we get our first attack up the pitch, and it was a goal. The boy Beck got booked, and from that moment on, Young had him on strings. He was just played him the whole game. It really was a joy to watch that first half. The way they passed, they moved, the intensity they had to it. Like there was a direction, there was purpose about the way they were playing. It wasn't just horseshoeing it around the middle of the park for the sake of it. They were passing between the lines, and they were getting. That's one of the things I noticed up until about 3-0. They were really passing the ball in between Dundee's lines and finding the pockets of spaces to get the ball through. And then after the third goal, Dundee United just shut up shop and went to the full blown low block with both lines sat really tight on top of each other. And it was harder to break down, but they kept doing it. So it was really, really great first half of football to watch. I think it's the biggest halftime lead any team in Scotland's had for 20 years now. So it's a really, really good first half of football to watch. So.
Yeah, the thing for me is I love the pace that we're playing at. Like, that's the first thing that jumps off the screen to me. Like, I watched the first half. I had problems getting into the game, like, on Celtic TV. So I missed it was the 12th minute mark when I come in. I'm like, "Huh? What? What one? How? When? How's this happen?" And then I was like, check the group chat. Oh, okay, cool. Looks like CCV scored. Must have been, off a corner or something rattling around like he scored a few lately because we don't score headers. And then the first
Yeah,
half, we scored a couple of headers. I think it was like 3 headers or something in that half. So,
that's right. Aye.
yeah, it was just different. It was just such a different game. But the thing I noticed tactically was that in the first half in particular, Johnson was overlapping outside of Yang and
Mhm.
letting Yang come in and attack and run it back, especially once he was booked, as you said, Willie. And that opened
Yeah,
him up. And that made him have to like play on his heels a bit more. In the second half, where that changes, as you said, they went to that low block. Yang was staying wider, and Johnson was more tucking in and coming in there, and he kept
yeah,
running an extra man into the way where Yang was trying to work. So it kind of, I suppose it swings and roundabouts. We got to see both. You can try both options, but what's good about one option, what's good about another. But our crossing was actually decent in
yeah,
that first half. In particular, the speed we moved the ball from, you know, the goalkeeper, like Joe Hart, anytime it went out, quick goal kick, get it moving. Anytime he got a quick throw, the players were getting the quick throws. It was the speed of thought and the speed that we actually moved the ball out and kept it going. Got a free kick, quick touch, let's go. The cameraman couldn't keep up at times. It was
hmm
unreal. It's so good
yeah.
to
It
see.
was.
And that suits the players that we have in this squad. That slow, ponderous football that we've been playing doesn't suit our players. Let them get out there and play fast and hard and press teams. And look at what happened.
Yeah, exactly. We got 7 goals, 6 goals in one half of football. Like, yeah, I mean, I was hoping to get double figures. I was like, well, like just show them no mercy in the second half. But we went out and we kind of slowed it down and just sort of took our time and played it around. We didn't need to press it any harder in the second half. But it's like watching Ida and the way the crosses are coming in. It maybe shows why having a big target man suits Rogers' style of football more than having someone like Kyogo up front. Just somebody who can get his head on the ball, whereas Kyogo likes the ball at his feet. Whereas you see it with Ida, Ida will use his pace, his power to get over people. Sorry. So yeah, it's definitely like that. If we can play like that for the rest of the season, we'll win the league, no bother. Like absolutely. Like
Saw it in the second half where Kyogo comes on and he's making the same runs that Ida was making, but the crosses weren't coming in and when they did come in, they were coming up over his head rather than to his feet.
yeah,
So it clearly looks like something that's been coached into the team, and it
yeah.
doesn't really suit Kyogo's game. I actually at one point yelled at the TV going, "Come on, Kyogo, you're a striker. Why are you so deep?" And then I realized, hang on, that's been the story all season.
Yeah.
So on with it or whatever. But yeah, it was overall you can't really complain. 7 goals, 7 different goal scorers. And yeah, so we had Carter Vickers with the first goal. We had Ida with the second, with the back of his head. That was brilliant. He just had to
Mm.
get his head towards the goal, and he did the right thing there.
It's a fact you had
Um,
2 guys in front of him, and he just still managed to get onto it. Like you know what I mean? It's just
it's like
great.
it's like
Like
they weren't expecting it, Willie. That's what was
yeah,
hilarious about it. It's like, "Oh, yeah, we've got him covered. The ball he's not gonna get his head on that and Clunk just get in with the back of your head."
yeah,
I thought O'Reilly's goal was a great ball through to him. I think it was maybe Taylor. I think
Yep.
Taylor. I thought
Yeah.
Taylor. I actually thought Taylor was about our best player in up until probably the 60-minute mark of the game, or whenever it was he
Mhm.
came off. Whenever he came
Right.
off, he was our best player to that point. But overall, man of the match was Yang for me. But yeah, Taylor, good delivery in there. And then Maeda's goal, he just stood the guy up, showed him a bit of candy, made him lunge, cross him up, and bang, past the keeper, class finish. Taylor's goal. I don't know. I didn't even see him in there, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh, Taylor scored. What the heck?"
Yeah,
He's
that's right. I think
plays
O'Reilly knocked it down to him. Was it O'Reilly who knocked it down to him? I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
And he shot past the keeper. Like, yeah.
And then
I thought
Kelman,
Dyson Maeda's goal was a pick of the bunch. I thought it was a beautiful finish. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
The bottom left hand corner. It just shows you how frustrating like Maeda is, because if he shows that composure week in, week out, man, he's going to score goals the whole time. But he just doesn't. And then out of nowhere, he just shows something like that. And you're like, wow, sometimes
yeah,
you do have it. Like,
it's like, why can't he do that all the time? Does he
yeah.
scully? And then I thought Maeda's goal was probably, yeah, the pick of the bunch, but then McGregor's and Kelly's goal later on,
Mm,
those 3 were, like, all there. McGregor's goal was just
yeah.
something a bit special for him. It's a
Yeah.
good to see him get out there and get a bit of a smack.
Yeah.
But
So we
it's
won too. Was it Taylor or was it
I think it was Taylor again
well, it
on
was
that one.
Taylor. We won too. He passed it out, thought he was going to take a shot. He didn't take a shot, and it came back to him, and he just dinked it in. And keeper didn't. Keeper couldn't get down to it. So great finish for him. And Kelly's well, beautiful finish, like absolutely beautiful finish. First time finish on his weaker foot, like very very composed for a young boy, like
Not bad. Kelly's,
yeah
was his second first team appearance and his first goal for the club.
yeah
There's no pressure when that happened and it went in and everything, but yeah, just some finish. I was very impressed with what I saw of him in the second half, and we'll talk about that a bit more in the player focus. What we'll do is we'll go through some comments here, Willie, and then we'll
yeah.
discuss the old tale of two halves sort of part of it. So, hail, Michael, RL77. Yeah, second half was 1-1, Rogers out. I better not say anything because I might cop some comments, later on. Andrew, great result. Phone kept pinging while working up on my SIS lift. Oh, that would have been very distracting plays. And then Andrew also filled up. Awada makes a difference. Who would have thought? Pretty much all the supporter base except for the gaffer, I suppose. And we're getting numbers into the box. Ian McIntosh, hey guys, sensational stuff. Are we clicking at the right time? What do you think, Willie?
I certainly hope that's the case. I hope I've got my notes in here about a couple of the players seem to be peaking at the right point of the season, and I'm hoping that's the case with the team as well. Because this is the point where prizes, where the points make prizes, and we need them. Like, you know what I mean? And if we start peaking now, then it could be momentum shifting towards us as we steamroll our way home to the title. As a hope, like.
Yep. And then Ian's also followed up saying the ripple effect of having CCV and Awada is tsunami level. Yeah, the key thing is you're getting the best centre back in Scotland back into your team and fit.
Mm,
You're getting an actual holding midfielder who all our other Japanese players that we brought in who have done well at the club, not a single one of them won the J League Player of the Year award. Awada did. So you've got an absolute special talent there that we've not integrated into our team in the year we've had him, pretty much. We haven't done that yet, and it's made no the only reason is because our captain's been playing the same position.
yeah,
With Hatade being out and who knows what's going on there, suddenly you're pushing Calmac up to his natural position. You bring a water in and just say, "Go out there, kick lumps, and got the ball." And the
yeah,
thing with Awada that I'm really loving watching is you're screening the centre backs really well. If someone needs to be covered, he's such a smart player. Like, you just watch him and he just covers space so easy. It's like he's anticipating, he's reading 2 or
yeah,
3 passes ahead and tracking runners and going, "Oh, I can leave that runner because the centre back behind me, Scales, will cover that. Oh, this one I need to go and cover because, what's his name? Taylor's still inverted, so I need to drop back a bit and go a little wider." So he just positions himself so well, and he's doing that running. It just makes it so easy in the midfield. So it's great when you've got it. And yeah, Andrew, off the back of what I was just saying, this comment makes perfect sense. Fullbacks can attack when you've got a defensive midfielder who holds position. Makes a
Yeah.
massive difference.
Definitely. Like, I mean, just got to sit in there and do a Lennon and just shield the back four, and that's what he does. And I think with Callum McGregor over the last couple of weeks, he's been doing a lot of firefighting. CCV's been out. The defence has been a bit shaky. Taylor's been out. You've got Burnaby at left back. You've got Ralston playing at right back. Okay, Ralston's competent enough to do the job, but there was a lot of work ground to be covered by Callum over that sort of period when the defence has been shaky. So having somebody who's in there, who's used to it and wants to play that position full time makes a big difference. Like, and it's good to see because it's nice to watch a player play naturally the way they want to play, which is what he's doing. And he's not small. He's not like a little fella who's just going to get pushed off the ball or bullied around. He's a bit of a tank when you look at him. He's got some pretty big biceps on him. He's quite ripped, like so. It's good to see him hitting form at the right time too. Like, you know, I mean, like we said earlier, I hope that's us starting to peak, and hopefully that's the corner turned, and we can sort of move on from here and push on and try and get a run together over these last 10 games.
Ian McIntosh also said, Willie, that Yang and Johnson combined well. I feel our defensive solidity frees us up to attack in numbers. It all comes from the solid foundation, which is right. You got to have that centre back pairing of Scales, Carter Vickers, Hart and goals, and then your defensive midfielders are wider. Those four, if that doesn't change the rest of the season, I'll be a happy man. Keep those guys in, keep them all fit, and just build that and build the team off that. Then give your wingers the freedom to go bomb on. Give your wing backs a chance to push forward. Give O'Reilly some freedom, because if he needs to go and make the run that he did to score that goal, he hasn't been making that run the last 3 or 4 games. So now he's got Kalmack that's going to cover him. In the same way, when he played with Hatate and Kalmack would be in the 6, he'd have someone that could cover him if he got caught out of position, and they'd rotate. There was one point where Awada gets the ball at the back. Kalmack hot covers for him in the 6, so he just pushes forward and runs probably about 30, 40 meters and then puts the ball in. So it was just great to see all up the overall, like, the solidity that gives us is a great starting point.
Yep, definitely. It's like even like what Ian Johnson's saying about Johnson and Yang. It's good to see a couple of players out there on the right who have an understanding of each other. Last couple of weeks when Kuhn's been playing, like Johnson's been looking for him and he's gone missing. And it's like, well, where is this guy? Where's the pass for me to try and get a 1-2 and try and get an overlap on the goal? But Kuhn's just disappeared out of nowhere. But tonight you see the difference that makes, the confidence you have with somebody you can play beside who you can just play a little give and go, like on you go on the overlap, or I'll come inside, you know what I mean, or you can come inside and I'll go on the outside, like, you know what I mean. It works, you know what I mean. And once you've got two players with that understanding, you can see the results, you know what I mean. Crosses coming into the box onto the head of players into the net, like so.
Spot on, Willie. Like what you're saying, it makes this defender guess: is the guy in front of me? Is he going to come inside? Is he going to go around me? And makes him unsure. And the thing was, like, once Beck was booked, when we did switch the wingers for that little bit, and we put Maeda out right, I was just like, okay, here we go. Just use Maeda's just pure pace to just batter him until he gets sent off. That's what I was expecting.
I didn't think the boy Beck would see the second half. Like, I just thought this boy's either going to get sent off or he's not going to surface for the second half because the manager knows he's going to be sent off. But he did. He came out and I had a reason to be quiet. But the second half wasn't as good as the first half. But like I say, I didn't think he was going to see the second half. It was that bad. He was getting roasted that bad. Like,
I think he's sitting there going, "Why did I take 3? Go back to Liverpool and take the field in that game. I could have been." I could have been playing for that Celtic team and not getting absolutely rinsed every 20 seconds.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a doozy. Andrew Galea was saying, "Rife turn, made of the man. Fair turn." Maestro saying, "Tomoki Awada, yep, gotta love him." Michael Ross, Cisa Van Awada are the rocks we build this side on. Have to agree with that. Mahesh, let's see what he's saying. usually some stats here. For once in a long time, Celtic not being outnumbered on the flanks and getting in behind the defence. 100. I understood that, Mahesh. Makes perfect sense because, yeah, it was great to see. It was good to see a bit of the. I actually found as well the thing with the flanks for us was the reason we're getting in behind is because we had numbers. We're winning the ball back quickly as well, which kind of helps.
Yeah. That's the
So,
other thing. I mean, you're pressing from the front. You know what I mean? You're defending high up the pitch. And it allows the defenders back further to get into position quicker. Like so, it was all round work ethic was shown. It was something that's been missing for weeks now. So hopefully that's like clicking into place.
defending from the front foot, Willie, like
Yeah.
most of it, we're sitting back and it's like, okay, we're on our heels and we're just like trying to contain guys. Right? This is like rock and roll football rather than reggae football. That's the way I look at
Yeah.
it. It's like, all right, they've got the ball. Let's go and smash her and get the ball back.
Yeah.
And that ties in perfect to this comment here from Ian McIntosh saying, I even enjoyed seeing Ida throw the Dundee player around. We've been too soft and I like the aggression. I saw that and I was like, yeah, get him. Get him.
Yeah. I'm surprised the Dundee player wasn't booked there too, right? But it just seemed to be either they got the card for that one.
I'm happy to cop that card.
Yeah.
There's a bit of mongrel in the team. When you've got, when you look at our back line, you're like, okay, Awada will get booked. He'll kick lumps out of people. You've got who in the back line will smash someone. Alistair Johnson's not afraid to do it. Ralston's not afraid to do it. Carter Vickers has done it in the past. So you got a bit of that physicality back into the team with those three, plus Awada, and then you bring Ida in. There's a bit more, mongrel about it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Martin and Phil's teams back in the day, Willie, and not only could they play great football, but they had about 6 or 7 guys there who actually enjoyed give someone a bit of a kicking.
Bobo Baldi throwing hands in the tunnel at half time and stuff like that, just to let people know he's going to be there waiting for them on the pitch.
Neil Lennon didn't mind putting the studs in occasionally.
Neil Lennon was an absolute warrior in the middle of the pitch. Like I loved watching Lennon play for Celtic. Like I know things went a bit sour for him as a manager the second time round, but as a player, he was just committed to Celtic, and it was great to watch him.
The funny one for that team, sorry, Willie. The funny one for that team with me though, and you go back to the O'Neill team, is John Hartson. We all know what he did to old Berkovic back in the old West Ham days, so I didn't mind any of that. But the thing is, the one player who was sneaky dirty was Chris Sutton.
Aye.
I used to watch him when he played at Chelsea because I've got mates growing up who are Chelsea fans. And as I've told you on the pod before, I have an old Chelsea auto glass top, Sutton 9 on the back. And my mate was over in the UK getting me that top because, when Butch goes, wear this. And then the only reason he got me that one is because while he was there, they sold Sutton to us. So he come back, and these are both fake ones. So I've got Sutton Celtic shirt, his name and number on the back, and that one. I don't know where they are. I think moths ate them, but it's kind of funny. Yeah.
Aye, Sutton was the master of the dark. Well, he was pretty good at the old dark arts in the football pitch. Go anywhere near him, he would fall over. Like, all right, quite happily go down. You know what I mean? Slightest touch on his back, and he was on the ground. Like, you know what I mean?
Then he'd absolutely clatter people the other way. He didn't mind jumping.
He would. He wasn't frightened to leave it in there, like either. Like, he play centre half. And you watch him, like I mean, we need a defender. We're injured, and nothing you sees Chris Sutton's in the box defending. You know, all right.
100%. So let's see what else we've got here. RL77. McKinnon says he changed his team against the Huns towards the end of the game with an eye for Saturday. Pants on fire. Yep. Maestro 95. Mater is an enigma, but the Bhoys are digger and fill so many positions along the front line. Young's been watching Jota videos. Looks that way. It's either that or when he was off with the Korean team at the Asian Cup, he was basically, chaperone and being the apprentice to Son, and who's learning under Ange and copping those secondary lessons and all that sort of stuff. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Ian saying, I get why some people get frustrated with Dazen, but he starts every week for me. Manager loves him for a reason. 100%.
See, there's another thing. Like having Dyson Maeda on the left, he is so comfortable out. Well, he's more comfortable out there than he is on the right. You play him on the right, it's a waste of a jersey, in my opinion. Like if you're gonna play Dyson Maeda, you have to play him on the left. There's no ifs or buts about that. Like,
funny thing is, when did he score? He was on the right.
I know, but he comes in on his left foot. And,
yeah, I know. It's just funny, Willie. I just had to say that because I'm like, I can't help myself. You know, someone will say it in the comments, so I'll just say it.
Yeah.
I want to just.
But for me, it would be every time on the left, without doubt. Like.
Yep. Maestro 95, Greg Taylor put in some ball, or the same ball for O'Reilly, a bit lower. Yep. Ian is saying Lennon was a master of the number 6 position. Correct. Sutton was a master of the wind-up position. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll get back to this now. Awada makes it simple and keeps the flow. He's a link player, always available, reads the game well. Yep, 100%. And then what do we got here? Mahesh saying, interesting that Awada 76 touches, over half of them down in the middle of the field, controlled the game.
Yeah. I think Celtic had 51 touches inside Dundee's box and 13 of them were shots. So
there you go. It's happening. Dyson scored his goal on the right. There it is. I knew that comment.
I know. But for me, he's more effective on the left. I mean, 100%. He's all right to do the whole switch of wingers for 10 minutes here and there in the game, but I just think he's more effective on the left.
And then Patrick McLaughlin, 2 assists and a goal from Taylor, 2 assists for AJ. Good to see fullbacks putting balls in now. Yeah. It's good to see them hitting some form again. So, yeah, what I wanted to we'll talk about, Willie, was the first half was high tempo. The second half, you touched on something earlier, and I was halftime. I was like, "Oh, yep, cool. We're up 6-0. Let's go for 10." And then we got that 7th, and they had their guy sent off, and then we've just rotated the squad. And for me, I was looking at it going, I know what Rodgers is up to. This is what he used to do in his first stint. Get up 3 or 4, then, all right, everyone, put a foot on the ball, slow it down, take your time, and let's just rotate and get some minutes into other guys' legs. And that was obvious that that's what the plan was at that point at halftime when Colmack actually got a breather. He had to come off, and we got to see Daniel Kelly playing a full 45 minutes in the first team. Now, mentioned his goal early on. Great start for him. So I'm going to start the player focus. Unless you got anything you want to discuss, any key points in the second half you want to talk about, quickly just jump in with that, Willie.
No, there's no real key points. I think there was 2 goals. There was Curtis Main. Did he score in the second half, that offside goal? Or was it the first half?
First half.
First half. I mean, that was a ball over the top into the left between Scales and Taylor. That's something we need to be working on and training, because that ball's over the top, or they're hurting Scales. Like CCV got back to try and cover, but Scales looked a little bit lost when that ball came over. So that's about the only other real talking point I had.
There was 2 of them where, like, both of their goals, I actually found that the bounce of the ball went against us.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm being realistic. I'm not saying that our players shouldn't have an excuse or anything like that. We should have done better. The bounce of the ball went against us on both of those ones. But when their first one went in straight away, I'm like, that's offside. I called it straight away. I'm like, that's offside. Surely that's offside. Then I saw the replay. I'm like, yep, offside. Happy days. So I was glad that the VAR actually backed up what I saw, because usually if I say that, I'm just like wishful thinking.
Yeah.
So that one was good. But their last goal was just like their goal that they scored. It was like, you can't even argue it. Like, that's Mickey Mallon's kid that scored that.
Yeah.
And
it's a good finish, right? It's a crossover to him.
And he was working his ass off when they were down a man, dropping deep, and then trying to spring us on a counter like that and just running his socks off. So credit where it's due on that front. I'll just say that. Well deserved.
Yeah. No, you can't take that goal away from him. I mean, it would have been better if they hadn't scored it. The goal difference would be level in the league, but it was a good goal. It was a bit like the Dundee, the Motherwell goal of the weekend. It's one of that goals you just stand back and appreciate it. And you know what? It's a good goal. It hasn't hurt us, but you know,
the football fan in me, Willie, if I was watching that as a neutral, I'd be like, oh, that was class, sort of thing. So you just got to deal with it.
But you're 7-0 up at the time, you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
it's not a game changer, was it? Like,
no. So, yeah, so back to the player focus. I'm gonna start off with Daniel Kelly. So it's good seeing him get the whole second half to play. Looks a player as far as I'm concerned. Like I know the standard, there was no pressure in it really because it was 6-0 up when he came on and he was out there with Awada and O'Reilly and that sort of thing. But the thing for me is he's naturally left footed and he scored that with his right. So that's something that was
yeah,
an interesting one. But the other thing is he didn't mind the physicality. He got out there
yeah,
and he smacked a few guys around, bumped a few guys around, and didn't shirk anything. And that's what the issue I think we've had with a lot of young kids coming up in the past. I'll go to Karamoko, for instance. He'd come into the squad and he just looked like a wee boy playing against men. Where Kelly came in and you can see he's been in the gym or has filled out a bit more or whatever because he's got in there and he didn't look out of place, which was good to see.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, he came in, he looked assured, he put himself about, he moved the ball around when he needed to. I mean, it's good to see the youth academy players coming through and being able to sort of come on and stamp their authority on the game the way he did. Like so, and with someone who's had very, very little first team experience, I was reasonably impressed with the way he did that. Like,
Yeah, 100%. Just checking something, Willie, just because I'm having a mental blank here. Yeah. The one thing that I wanted to see in the second half as well on the player focus, I'm talking about it, and I know Robert Gibson's gonna love this comment in there. I wouldn't have brought Palmer on in the second half. I understand we spent a bit of money on him. He's out of form and everything, but I would have rather we give those 25 odd minutes or whatever in there, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it worked out. I'd rather we give that to Rocco Vada in that situation than give that to Palmer. Palmer's not really going to get anything out of playing those 20 something minutes,
uh,
but Rocco would have actually shown us something. What are your thoughts, Willie?
I would like to have seen Rocco Vata come on because he's obviously made, whenever I've seen him come on, he's looked hungry and he scored a goal. Was it 1 or 2 goals for the first team? So I would have been nice to see him come on rather than Palmer. But I also thought I know Kuhn hasn't had a great time of it, but I thought being 6-0 up, it might be a good chance to give him a wee half-hour run out to try and get a bit of confidence into him. But obviously, when um, when Young's playing on fire the way he was, it probably wasn't the best time to do that. Like,
Well, those two are battling it out for one jersey, let's be honest.
yeah,
On the left, you've got Maeda and Palmer battling it out for a spot. In the middle, you've got Ida and Kyogo battling it out. And on the right, it's Yang and Kun battling it out. The
yeah.
jersey's Yang's now, let's be honest.
Oh,
So,
aye, without a doubt. Like,
yeah, I'm just going to bring up a comment here. So, a couple of comments here. So, do that here. I'm going to hit this one here. 3 games till the international break, isn't it? Oh, I hate the international break, so I hope not. That's what the winter break wrecked us last time, so we've got to
yeah,
keep it going and hope we get no injuries from that there. And then it's like we've got Hearts away, Livingston in the Cups, and Johnston at home till the international break. But Maestro's, the young lad done well. That inspires other young players, and that's part of why I'm saying there, as Patrick's saying, we should have put Varda on. Robert is saying we really need to get rid of all these international breaks. And he's also saying altogether now, Palmer's a wanker. He
you're
does
not a
not
fan, are you, Robert?
He's not a fan.
Yeah.
Andrew Goulet, I would have loved to have given O a chance up front with Ida or Ida. He wasn't even on the bench.
No, he didn't even make a bench. Yeah,
And then he's Maestro saying Palmer's a show pony. Kyogo really does look dejected. Did you see the footage? I think it was early on in the game. It was after Ida scored with that back of his head. They then went to a shot on the bench, and it was Palmer sitting next to Kyogo. And Palmer's leaning forward, looking at the game, watching Lewis, and Kyogo's just like leaning back against the back of the dugout. He looked completely like he'd rather be anywhere else. Like he's trying
yeah.
to.
I feel
He's
for
not
him.
got
Like,
a
it's
block
just
at
not
the moment.
going. Yeah, it's just not going well for him at the moment, and I really feel for him because I love watching Kyogo play football, and I love that happiness he brings to it. You know, that energy, that positivity, and it's just all missing from him in body language right now. So
Yeah.
I just really feel for him, Mike, because there's nothing better than watching a happy Kyogo going out there and doing his thing. Mike.
I think we've pretty much touched on all the players, Willie, haven't we? That we need for a player focus. Or you got anyone else you want to mention?
No, Matt O'Reilly for me. He was at the heart of everything tonight. Like, you know what I mean? Every ball was coming through him. So he's another one. Hopefully that's him finding his form again and peaking at the right time. So yeah. Other than that, it was solid performance from everyone. You know, all be proud of themselves.
It was good to see O'Reilly coming back. That was like the O'Reilly we were getting before the international winter break. So it was good to see that. I agree with a couple of these comments here. So Andrew is saying tough season for Kyogo when the manager doesn't rate you. I agree with that sentiment. Also agree with Maestro. Kyogo has a big part to play in the remaining games.
There's two games two derby games coming, and Kyogo will be massive in them because he loves a goal against Rangers, whether it's at Ibrox, Hampden, or Parkhead.
Even if he doesn't start those games, Willie, and you bring him off the bench later on, imagine the fear their centre backs are going to have going, oh shit, here comes Kyogo.
Yeah.
After it has been out there belting them around for a bit for the 60 minutes or so, and then they've got 30 minutes of Kyogo's movement and speed.
Yeah.
They'll be shitting bricks. So yeah. Patrick, you've just you put a comment here about something that we're going to talk about later on, but we'll just use that as the segue then. So I read an article yesterday, and it was saying that Atletico Madrid wanted O'Reilly on loan with an option to buy in January. So that was widely reported at the time, and what the transfer offer is that apparently Atletico Madrid wanted the loan, but they only wanted a future fee of £18 million, and apparently sold it for £25 million. That's what's being reported by Danish journalists. For me, why I put this on the run sheet is Celtic have got to learn. We've got O'Reilly on a long-term contract. When are we going to raise our eyes a bit and go, no, if you're going to pay 40 million for a similar standard of player out of Holland, why are we just settling for 25 million? You've got to constantly be looking to up the ante every time you sell a quality player. And it was, we got 19 million for Moussa Dembele. We then got 25 million for Tierney. And then we've stagnated. We sold Jota for 25. We should have been pushing for 30 for Jota, especially when you got to pay some of that back out to Benfica. To then say, oh, we want a 25 million for O'Reilly, but you've got him on a long-term contract, it doesn't make sense. Unless there's an agreed fee in his contract, which was 25 million, that we're none the wiser of, like there was with Tierney, a release clause, then we need to be pushing to break that 30 million barrier on the next big sale, whether that's O'Reilly, Hatate, or whoever. What are your thoughts?
No, Matt O'Reilly, starting bids for Matt O'Reilly is 30 million as far as I'm concerned. Like anything below 30 million is derisory, and you should be thrown out straight away. And for someone to come in and say, here's 5 million and we'll give you 18 million in the close season, that's just a slap in the chops. That's just a big fat no from me. There's no way you can be selling your top players like that for undervalue. We did it with Starfelt in the summer. We got 5 million for Starfelt. We could easily have got double that for him. He's a far better defender than 5 million. But Juranovic was another one we sold. Josip Juranovic for 8 million. We could have got more for him too. Just seem to be just taking what they can when the bids come in, and it's just not the way you should be doing business.
Yeah. So Andrew Galea is saying 18 million. Is O'Reilly really worth more than that outside of the EPL? I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Have a look at similar level. There's teams. If you were to buy a guy who's an international, who's played in Champions League, who is the main players in your team, and he's been from say Austria or Red Bull Salzburg, for instance. Say if you wanted to go and buy someone from there, they'd get more than 18 million for that player, wouldn't they?
Definitely. Right? I mean, it's a Danish international. He's playing for them now. He's doing it in the Champions League level. He's winning trophies. He's won pretty much every trophy he's entered in Scotland so far. So he is worth easy 30 million.
Yep. 100%. We've got to push for more. That's the only way.
Yeah,
You don't get if you don't ask. It's just like when you're a youngster, you
exactly.
go out to a pub, you go and club and whatever. You don't go and shut up that chick. There's no chance she's
No.
going home with you.
Shy
So
boys get no sweeties.
there you go. You want 30 million, you got to ask for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's Celtic need to set that stall out and say, well, no, our top players are worth that, and that's what we think they're worth. And if you don't want to pay that, then we don't want to sell
Someone else
them.
will.
Yeah.
So Maestro saying a player is worth what someone will pay. Clubs have been alerted about Matt O'Reilly, so it could be highest bidder. But the thing was, that was the winter window where no one really wants to spend. So if you're agreeing to that in the winter to accept the 18 in the summer, you probably get more of a bidding war come summer window. Let's be honest.
You would,
Michael Ross is easily worth 30 million. Narel 77. Pretty sure the board sell our players based on Facebook marketplace prices. Yeah.
They're getting messages, is this item still available? And then like 3 weeks later, somebody messaging back, is it still for sale? Like, no, go away.
You put a price on there saying, oh, it's $5,000. And then they go, is this available? I'll give you $300 and some sweaty gym socks. Yeah.
What's the lowest you're prepared to go? Well, I'm not going to tell you that, am I?
Yeah, it's good fun. There you go. So Robert's saying Matt O'Reilly at least 30 million. Palmer and Kuhn straight swap for 10 fags and a Twix. Oh, it's expensive Twix bar. Yeah. So off the back of that as well, there's also been an article saying that Lil Abada wants to tear up his contract at Celtic and move to the MLS after copying some abuse on the streets in Glasgow. Apparently, Austin and Atlanta are both keen to sign him up. What are your thoughts on this, Willie?
No. Listen, Lil Abada, we paid $4 million for him. He's a player. He's worth, in my opinion, 8 to 10 million. He's just signed a new deal. If a bid comes in anything over 8 million, I'd happily accept it, but not a penny less than that. And if he thinks we're just going to tear up his contract and just say, do you know what, on you go and wish him all the best, he's sadly mistaken. He's an asset. We need to make money on that asset. We at least, you know what I mean, you can't go any lower than 4 million. Okay, his valuation is going to drop. Come the summer, you might be looking at 6 million, 6 or 7 million for him. But no, he penned a new deal at the start of the season, so he's a Celtic player. Whether he likes it or not, whether the politics of what the Green Brigade are singing about and the flags they're waving is pissing him off or what, we can't change that. Like, there's a sticky situation there. I empathise with the boy, but we can't just go ripping his contract up and saying, we wish you all the best. He's an asset. He's worth money to the club, and he needs to be sold.
100%, Willie. And what I'd even do is we've got him under contract till 2027. Okay, so that's how long we've got him under contract for. You don't lose value as a player massively until your last 18 months of your contract.
Yeah.
So realistically, we've got at least 2 years, 2.5 seasons, the rest of this season and 2 more before that starts to even look like happening. You know he's not going to sign a new contract. So what I'd be doing is in the summer just gone, apparently Newcastle United were looking at him for £15 million. Now, would I accept 15 million for him now? Yeah, but I'd probably want a sell-on fee on top of it as part of it. However, he does need to grow up, as Andrew Galea is saying, and as you're saying, Willie, he's an asset to the club. So for me, if he doesn't want to play for it in a Celtic jersey again, fine. It's all well and good, but we still own your contract.
Yeah.
So we will own you to an EPL club where you can go and play there, and you're not at Celtic. We'll do that for a year, put you in the shop window, get your value up again, and then sell you in the summer come 2025, and we will still make a shit ton of cash off that. You can get your move that you want, and it serves everyone. At the moment, if we were to sell him in the summer, we're selling low on an asset we've got for a long time. So he needs to really, this is me taking the human element out of it and go, no, you can go on loan for 12 months. Do well there, we'll sell you.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm thinking that's part of why I just said that as well, Maestro, is you're saying that you've got to think about the lad's mental state 100%. I do agree on that. As on the human element, I get it, but I'm not tearing the contract up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'd rather keep him on and send him on loan for 12 months. Go play in the EPL, go play in Spain, go play in a league that's gonna, get you out of Glasgow if that's what you need, and it's gonna put him in the shop window. It's gotta be the best for him and for us.
Yeah, I mean, loaning him out. I mean, one of the American teams want to come in and loan him with an option to buy. You need to just sit there and say, right, 8 million. There's your option to buy price. You want him after his loan spell, then it's 8 million. And if they're not prepared to pay that, then you could say, look, well, we'll put him out on loan to you anyway, and it gets him game time. And as you say, he's in the shop window, and other teams might come and have a look and say, all right, okay, we might be prepared to pay the price for him. But you got to think about like Maestro 95 saying, you got to think about his mental state. Where's he safer at the moment? Is he safer going back to Israel and staying with his family over there to get away from Celtic, or is he safer staying in Glasgow? You know what I mean? I think Glasgow's a bit of a safer place for him to sit tight on a massive contract.
Yeah, when you look at it and go, okay, you got Glasgow and you got a war zone. Common sense. Yeah. But I suppose as Michael Ross is saying, I think Abada's under big pressure to leave from his international manager and his family.
Yeah, I do agree with that. That obviously the international team manager might turn around and say to him, well, as long as you're at Celtic Football Club, you won't be getting picked for Israel. And I think, have Israel not qualified for the Euros?
I think they have, yeah.
Am I mistaken on that? Or is it anyway, he's going to be told he's not going to get picked internationally while he's at us. That's fair enough. And then he needs to go to the board and say, look, I want to go out on loan, whether it's a loan with an option to buy or a loan where I can go out and really prove myself and try and put myself in a shop window and win a move somewhere else, and that's fair enough. But he needs to show that determination. But he's an asset. He can't just have the contract ripped that and walk away. It doesn't work like that, I'm afraid.
Ian McIntosh has got a comment here, Willie, which is mixed feelings about Abada, but if he wants out, he should get out. We should get him out quickly. Don't need any distractions. So on that, yeah, if he wants to go on loan to the MLS, fine. Let's loan him out from now through to on the summer window. And then we can, at that point, then we can reassess it and go, okay, you're not going to come back to Celtic. What other loans are there? Do you want to go and play for, say, if Everton somehow stay up, or if Davy Moyes stays at West Ham? That'd be a perfect fit for him, I reckon.
Well, you could throw the other thing out there. I mean, you could turn around and say, well, he's going to go to West Ham on loan in England and in London. There's marches every other weekend in support of Palestine in London. I mean, is the international manager going to turn and go, oh, what are you doing in London? They're having protests in favour of Palestine. What are you doing there? You should be going somewhere else. I mean,
so basically, Willie, he has to go play in Turkey then. That's pretty much his only option in Europe. It's pretty much it.
Not sure how political relations between Turkey and Israel are not that great either, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, I got it the wrong way then. I retract that previous comment.
He's caught between the boy's definitely caught between a rock and a hard place at the moment, and I feel sorry for him in a way, but he needs to realise that he can't just go spitting the dummy out and saying, I'm not going to play, because then that move that might be there for him, if people see that kind of attitude, clubs will just walk away and go, do you know what, that's not the kind of attitude we want at our workplace, like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, 100%. So what we'll do is we'll leave that topic there because it could get interesting. It's one that you can go around in circles on overall, and they don't really want to go on it for too long and invite the people you don't want putting views into the comments section, everything on that. So we'll just leave that there as it is for a bit of, and just let us know in the comments or whatever, anyone, if you've got any thoughts on it. Same with Matt O'Reilly, what his transfer fee should be when the time comes. Just anything we've discussed on the pod, just chuck in the comments. We want to get a bit more interaction going on that as well. Now, the next thing, Willie, we wanted to talk about was, I mentioned to you about the board's statement to the Green Brigade prior to the match against Dundee. You hadn't seen that, had you?
No, I was at work, so I was just like, oh, there's a squad, and just got the game up and then back to work once the game was done. Like, so okay. I haven't even seen this. Like,
so I'm going to read this to you. I want to get your reaction to it, and the reason Robert in the comments about a bar. I loaned him out to Melbourne City so he can hold hands with Tilio. Jeez. Anyway, back to this board letter. So basically, there was issues at the game on the weekend at Motherwell, I think it was, wasn't it? Where
Yeah.
people getting in and out, people showing up without tickets, a whole bunch of stuff. There was issues there. So the letter to the Green Brigade said, "Good afternoon. With reference to a display in the front section of the rail seating section at the home game against Kilmarnock on the 17th of February, it is noted that this is a breach of the club's banner protocol that has been updated and agreed rail seating code of conduct. Regrettably, the club have received a volume of complaints about the display from other Celtic supporters and stakeholders, in particular in respect of the words end Zionism and certain aspects of the call to action ahead of the match. As has been discussed on many occasions, Celtic is a club open to all, and consequently, we take these breaches of the agreed code of conduct and their complaints received very seriously. The banners displayed do not represent the views of the Celtic Football Club. Suggesting that the group speaks on behalf of the club is unacceptable. It is entirely inappropriate for any group of individuals to seek to use Celtic and Celtic Park as a vehicle for such messages, particularly when many club colleagues and supporters have been affected by these events. The club recognises that our supporters hold personal views on these matters. As a club open to all, we all belong at Celtic Park, and there is of course a range of views held by Celtic supporters. Celtic Park is a place where all colleagues and supporters should feel able to come to support our football club. Recognising this, respecting the gravity of the tragedy ongoing, we have requested in the past and repeated that request that there is no further such displays in breach of the agreed code of conduct and banner protocol. On a similar note, with reference to Sunday's away match versus Motherwell on the 25th of Feb, regrettably, certain behaviours in respect of individuals attempting to gain entry to the stadium without a valid match ticket returned, having also been prevalent in our recent away match against Aberdeen. The club has also received complaints from other supporters and the host clubs themselves who are being adversely affected by such behaviours, and these are similarly taken very seriously. Therefore, the club again asks that the group makes efforts to discourage any supporters without tickets from attempting to gain access or circumvent safety and stewarding plans. Regards, Celtic Football Club. So that was the letter that they issued. Now, I think we pretty much all saw as Robert's saying, that's like listening to a disclaimer with your insurance company. Yeah, pretty much.
It is,
So, yeah, it was just you have that coming out, and then you've got the banners that came out at the game, which I also thought kind of is not looking very good, all things considered. Based on that, I can just see some trouble coming. So, Green Brigade then unfurler police brutality equals PLC complicity. Fans demand change. All cops are bastards, as they usually say. So basically, anyone at Police Scotland who's a Celtic fan has been tarnished. Anyone who the whole board is basically being told they're complicit with what happened outside the stadium if a cop arrested someone or whatever. The only reason I'm bringing this up is you heard the roar at halftime in the game this morning or last night over there. The players are up and about, the crowds are getting into it, everyone's G'd up, and then all of a sudden, this is looking like it's rearing its ugly head again, which to me, as a club, we do not need this when we are trying to we've given up the lead in the league and we're trying to chase it down. That's why I'm bringing this up. The issues between the club and the Green Brigade, I have my own personal opinion. I'm sure everyone else does. I've seen a draft of James Forrest on the Celtic blogs post that he's putting out today on all of this and how it ties into what the Celtic Trust is trying to do as well with the drive for 5 and get 5% of the shares as part of the trust so they can create change at the board level. But with stuff like this happening, with the letter and then the banners and all that extra stuff, I just think it's starting to get the vibes of Lenny's last season again on that front, and it's probably not a good thing. What are your thoughts, Willie?
It's not very well timed. I mean, the banner that the Killie game, what was it? It read, "Think about these past few months, or will they say we failed? 30,000 dead, 19,000 children. End the genocide, end Zionism." I mean, they're just putting out a little message out to just say, "Look, stop this war out in there." I mean, they're killing kids out there now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't turn around and say that's not acceptable. I mean, you're just letting your views know that children are being killed and it's not acceptable. But for the board to come out and they're just covering their own arses on this, because they know UEFA is going to come down and say, "Hang on a second here, what's this banner all about? We don't like political banners at football matches. You need to act." And then if UEFA come down, then the SFA might want to get involved. And I think what the board is doing is the board's just come out and covering their arse straight away. Look, well, it's nothing to do with us. Like, we don't want anything to do with this. They don't speak for us, and they don't speak for the whole club. Like, so it's just a game of litigation, isn't it? Just cover your backside. Like. But it needs to stop because it's not good. We need. They talk about the Holy Trinity. You watch it with the day. The players are all in sync with each other on the pitch. The fans buy into that. Brendan Rodgers is fist pumping away in the touchline. Everyone inside that stadium was together today. We need that over the next 10 games. That's the kind of energy and that's the kind of vibe we need to have. We don't need another war brewing in the background between the board and supporters where things are going to start turning nasty and the Green Brigade are going to say, "Well, do you know what? We're not going to sing for the opening 20 minutes of this next game." I mean, we don't need that sort of stuff happening again. Like.
Yeah, 100%, Willie, or the walkouts or stuff like that, or show up 10 minutes late to the game or that sort of stuff. We don't need any of that. Michael Ross is saying the Green Brigade heading for another ban if Lawwell gets his way. And then at the end of the game, the boys group had a banner up themselves. It said, "Write our own story, fight it out until the end." So realistically, you've got two different fan groups, two different banners. Yeah, it's not ideal the way I look at it. We don't, as you said, we don't need this happening. We just want to get it, get that Holy Trinity up and about. And, as Liam said numerous times, if we win every remaining game of ours and draw one instead of losing it, we're champions. Because that means even if one of those draws is against Rangers, we're still champions.
Yeah.
So we need to stay together for these last 10 games.
Yeah.
If you want to stir trouble and try and make change in that, leave it till the summer. Like,
exactly.
This isn't the time for it. Like, I'm not a happy clapper. I want the board changed as much as everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about football at the moment.
Yep.
Maestro 95 is saying it as well. It's all about the football. We have to concentrate on the football. 10 games to go. Win them all. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it done. Like,
I'm with you not, Maestro. Right?
We're in a great spot right now. So we'll talk about the weekend's game, Willie. So we're playing Hearts on the weekend at Tynecastle. It's always a bit of a prick of a stadium because it's like small pitch, the crowd's on top of you. I think it's pretty obvious we need to keep the same starting lineup. Would you agree on that?
Definitely, 100% agree with that. Like,
for me, it's like keep the same lineup. The one key matchup for the game though for us to keep an eye on is going to be Shanklin against Scales because he's not going to run at Carter Vickers, is he? He's going to target all his runs and everything he's doing at Scales.
He's going to move into that left channel between Scales and Taylor, so he's going to try and attack from in there. I agree with you on that. Okay, it's going to be a full-blooded game. They're not going to pull out the challenges. It's not going to be a hands across the M8 job like it was last week when they played Rangers. They are going to come out and they're going to try and play against us. They're going to try and kick us off the ball. They are going to have a right good go at us. The last thing we need to do is get prolonged into a dogfight with them. So I would like to see what we've done today and do the same thing again against them, get a couple of early goals and just put the game to bed and just pass it about, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, I just like to say, I just don't fancy getting drawn in a dogfight with them because the longer the game goes and we haven't scored, or if the longer the game goes and it's a draw, the more it will sort of suit them. So for me, getting a couple of early goals would be key to this game, mate.
Yep, 100%. So I'm going to bring up some comments, Willie, and then we'll get your score prediction and final thought. So Joseph Agnew said early on in the pod, "How hail, boys, here we go. Sunday a must. Keep the faith." 100%. Maestro said, "We roll into Sunday. Confidence is a big thing in football, and by God, that team are playing with it." Maestro's also said, "Do we start the same team on Sunday?" 100%. Patrick was saying, "Do that on Sunday, and we're defo back." Andrew's got to back up that performance. Every game's a big game. Hearts on Sunday, they'll come at us. 100%. They'll come out and play, so there'll be space. Andrew's saying, "Keep up the tempo on the park, and everything else is pushed into the background." Patrick's agreeing with what you were saying there, Willie. What a boost we will all get if we can smash 4 past Hearts. And Robert, those bastards won't roll over for us like they did the Huns. So realistically, we've got to get out there. Our pace up front will suit us fine. Michael Ross, Sunday's game is huge. RL77 nullify Shanklin and they have little else. 100%. I think we've just got to get a massive victory on the weekend. It doesn't matter how much, but Willie, what's your score prediction?
I'm going for a 4-0 win with Ida to open the scoring.
I'm going to go a 3-1 win. They will score first off a dubious penalty. And then we will come back and get our 3 and get the job done and be a bunch of happy campers. And I'm saying Ida's going to score our first one, and Kyogo and Maeda will get the other 2. So plenty of love up there for all our strikers.
Yeah.
So I think with that, what we'll do is everyone check out CelticDownUnder.com, go to their website. You can get drink bottles, you can get T-shirts, hoodies, the works. If you want to support the podcast, we'd really appreciate it. If you're watching this, please hit like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. If you're listening to the podcast, subscribe to the podcast channel as well there. Join our Facebook group, Instagram and Twitter. You can find us at Celtic Down. Facebook, we've got a group on there as well. Get in there, get involved in the convos and everything. And yeah, we're trying to build a nice little community there. So what we'll do is we'll go to our final thoughts, Willie, and then we'll call it a day.
Yeah, final thoughts. A water for Pope.
My final thoughts is seeing Dundee's bus on the back of a tow truck was hilarious. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next Monday. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.